Welcome, high-value men. You've been here before, haven't you? Dragging yourself through another day, another fight, another mountain you're trying to climb. And for what? For her approval? For the world's validation? Stop right there. This isn't the time to look for sympathy. It's the time to wake up. She wanted a monster. She pushed you, tested you, questioned your worth. And now you're standing here, searching for answers. Let me tell you something you need to hear. Even if it stings, they wanted you weak. They wanted you controlled. But here you are, alive, breathing, and ready for what's next. That's why you're here. To learn how to stop being the prey and start becoming the predator. Let's get one thing straight. You're not going to be loved for your softness, nor respected for your submission. Women don't crave weakness. They don't fall for men who bend at every challenge. They test you to see if you'll break, and then they decide if you're worthy. You've got two choices. Stay at the bottom, hoping for scraps of recognition, or rise up and become the man she can't ignore. This isn't just about impressing her. It's about reclaiming your power, your strength, and your self-respect. She wanted a monster? Good. Let's give her what she asked for, but not for her approval, for yours. How women in society judge you. Look around. The world isn't kind to men like you. Men who dare to think differently, who refuse to play by the rules society imposes. And it's not just the world. Women have their own unspoken expectations, their own judgments. They say they want a strong man, but what they really mean is, be strong, but only on my terms. Do you feel it? That constant tug of war. You try to step up, to lead, to show your strength, and what happens? They question you. They push back. They call you too much, too intense, too ambitious. It's as if the very things that make you valuable are the things they want to suppress. Here's the truth no one will tell you. They don't want a man they can't control. Women admire strength, but they also fear it. They fear the man who doesn't ask for permission, who doesn't need validation, who doesn't bend to their whims. Why? Because that kind of man is unpredictable, and unpredictability terrifies them. Think about it. How many times have you tried to fit into their mold? How many times have you held back your true self because you were afraid of being too much? You smiled when you wanted to roar. You stayed silent when you wanted to lead. You shrank yourself down into a version of you that they could accept. And what did you get in return? A pat on the back? Approval that felt hollow? Respect that vanished the moment you stopped playing their game? You're not alone. Society conditions men to conform. It whispers lies into your ear. Tone it down. Play it safe. Be nice. But niceness won't earn you respect. Compliance won't make you valuable. And holding back your strength won't make her love you. In fact, the opposite is true. Women respect strength, but not the kind of strength that comes with conditions. They don't admire men who seek their approval, who compromise their principles for the sake of harmony. Deep down, they crave a man who stands firm, who doesn't falter, who knows who he is and what he wants. But here's the paradox. They'll test you before they trust you. Those tests, they come in subtle ways. A comment about your choices, a challenge to your authority, a question that cuts deeper than it should. These aren't accidents, they're deliberate. Women do this because they want to see what you're made of. Will you cave under pressure? Will you retreat when it gets uncomfortable? Or will you rise, hold your ground, and show them that you're not a man who can be swayed? Here's where most men fail. They see these tests as personal attacks, as signs that she doesn't respect them. But that's not true. These tests are her way of finding out if you're worth her respect. If you crumble, you confirm her doubts. If you hold steady, you prove your worth. So what's it going to be? Are you going to let society and her expectations define you? Are you going to shrink yourself to fit into their mold? Or are you going to step into your full potential? You can't be everything to everyone, but you can be the man who earns respect, not because you demand it, but because you embody it. Strength, integrity, purpose. These are the traits of a high-value man. And the moment you stop seeking approval, you start commanding respect. It's time to make a choice. The world will always judge you. Women will always test you. But none of that matters as long as you're grounded in who you are. Stop trying to please them. Start living for you. That's the kind of man they fear, and the kind they can't resist. When she wants a monster, give her one. You've heard it before. Maybe not in words, but in actions. Women don't want a man who tiptoes through life, avoiding conflict, apologizing for his existence. They crave something deeper, something primal, strength they can't manipulate, a fire they can't extinguish. But they'll never say it outright. Instead, they'll push, they'll test, and they'll watch to see what you'll do when the pressure's on. Here's the thing, she doesn't want you to be a monster because she hates you. She wants to see if you have the spine to stand up against her, the world, and even yourself. It's a paradox, isn't it? They say they want kindness, but only when it's backed by power. They say they want compromise, but only when it comes from a man who doesn't need to compromise. So what happens when you give her what she's asking for? What happens when you stop trying to prove your worth and start embodying it? That's when things shift. That's when she sees you for what you are. A man who doesn't need her validation, a man who defines himself on his own terms. Here's what you need to understand. Women will always test your boundaries. Not because they want to destroy you, but because they need to know you have them. Boundaries are the markers of a strong man. They show her you value yourself enough to say, "This is where I stand, and I won't move for anyone." But it's not just about boundaries, it's about energy. When she pushes, do you push back, or do you crumble? When she questions your decisions, do you explain yourself like a boy caught in a lie, or do you let your actions speak louder than words? High-value men don't get rattled. They don't flinch when the heat's on. And that unshakable calm, that's what she finds irresistible. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're in an argument. She's throwing every emotional jab she can think of, trying to get a reaction. Most men would cave. They'd apologize for things they didn't do, just to keep the peace. But a high-value man? He doesn't play that game. He listens, calmly and confidently. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't let her control the frame of the conversation. And when she's done, he speaks with clarity and conviction. He holds his ground without being aggressive. That's power. But let's not sugarcoat this. Being that kind of man isn't easy. It requires discipline, self-awareness, and a willingness to face your own weaknesses. It's about transforming the raw energy of anger, frustration, and pain into a focused force that drives you forward. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't just survive tests, he thrives on them. Here's the catch. When you become this man, the world changes. She changes. The tests don't stop, but they take on a different tone. They're no longer about breaking you. They're about aligning with you, respecting you, and ultimately trusting you. But don't misunderstand. This isn't about performing for her approval. It's about becoming the man you were meant to be, with or without her recognition. When you embody strength, when you live with purpose, women notice. They can't help but notice. And the ones who matter, they'll respect you for it. At the end of the day, it's not about being a monster in the traditional sense. It's about embracing the qualities that society tells you to suppress. Your decisiveness, your assertiveness, your unwavering sense of self. These aren't flaws, they're your greatest assets. So the next time she tests you, remember this. It's not a challenge to your manhood. It's an invitation to rise above the noise, to show her what it means to be unshakable, unbreakable, unstoppable. She wanted a monster? Then give her one, but don't do it for her. Do it for you. Turning pain into power, the high-value man's transformation. Let's talk about pain, the kind that keeps you awake at night, the kind that makes you question your worth. You felt it. Maybe it was the sting of rejection, the crushing weight of failure, or the sharp betrayal of someone you trusted. Most men let that pain define them. They carry it around like a burden, letting it drag them down, weaken them, and make them bitter. But high-value men? They see pain for what it really is, fuel. Here's a truth most won't tell you. Your pain is your power. Every scar, every wound, every time you've been knocked down and gotten back up, it's all part of the transformation. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the forge that shapes you, the fire that burns away weakness and leaves only strength. Think about it. Women don't respect a man who lets pain consume him, who wallows in self-pity or lashes out because he doesn't know how to handle his emotions. What they admire is the man who takes that pain and uses it as a tool, a weapon to build himself stronger, sharper, better. So how do you do it? How do you take the chaos of pain and turn it into focused power? It starts with a mindset shift. Pain isn't something that happens to you, it's something that happens for you. It's life's way of testing you, of asking, how badly do you want it? How far are you willing to go? And every time you rise above it, you prove to yourself and to her that you're not a man who breaks. Imagine this, you've been through a rough breakup. She left, and it felt like your world was falling apart. Most men would crumble. They'd sit in the dark, replaying every conversation, every moment, trying to figure out what went wrong. But not you. Instead of breaking, you build. You hit the gym, you focus on your goals, you level up in every area of your life. And when she sees you again, you're unrecognizable. Not because you've changed for her, but because you've grown for yourself. This is the essence of the high-value man. He doesn't let pain define him. He uses it to redefine himself. He understands that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Women respect this because it shows resilience, strength, and self-mastery. It tells them you're not a man who runs from the fire. You walk through it and come out stronger on the other side. But here's the catch. This transformation isn't just about showing the world how tough you are. It's about finding clarity in the chaos. Pain strips away the unnecessary, leaving you with what really matters, your values, your vision, your purpose. And when you're clear on those, nothing can shake you. Let me tell you something else about pain. It teaches you to let go of what doesn't serve you. Whether it's the opinions of others, the need for approval, or the fear of failure, pain has a way of burning those things away. What's left is the real you. The man who doesn't need permission to be powerful. The man who doesn't need validation to know his worth. And here's the thing about women. They recognize that strength. They can see when a man has been through hell and come out the other side. It's not about the pain itself. It's about what the pain has created. A man who's been tested and hasn't faltered. A man who's unshakable, not because he's never been broken, but because he knows how to put himself back together. But this transformation isn't about her. Yes, women respect it, they're drawn to it, but that's just a side effect. The real reward is the freedom that comes with it. Freedom from the need to prove yourself to anyone but yourself. Freedom from the chains of your past. Freedom to live life on your terms. So the next time life throws pain your way, don't run from it. Embrace it. Use it. Let it teach you, strengthen you, and guide you. Let it remind you of what you're capable of. And when you stand before her or anyone else, they'll see the fire in your eyes, the confidence in your stride, and they'll know, this is a man who can't be broken. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. What you do with your pain defines the man you become. And if you choose to let it transform you, you'll become the kind of man she can't resist, the kind of man the world can't ignore. What women truly respect in a man. Let's clear up a common misconception. Women don't truly respect the men who bend over backward trying to please them. Sure, they may smile, nod, and say all the right things in the moment, but deep down, respect isn't earned by submission or compliance. It's earned by strength, strength of character, strength of will, and strength to stand firm even when the world tries to knock you down. Here's the truth. Women respect boundaries. Not just the ones you set for them, but the ones you set for yourself. If you're constantly compromising your principles, changing who you are to fit her expectations, or apologizing for your ambitions, you're sending one clear message. You don't value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, why should she? Respect starts with self-respect. Women watch how you treat yourself. Do you honor your time, your energy, your goals? Or do you give them away freely to anyone who asks, leaving nothing for yourself? A high-value man doesn't apologize for prioritizing his growth, his dreams, and his well-being. He understands that saying no to others often means saying yes to himself. And that's a choice she'll admire, even if she doesn't say it outright. But respect isn't just about setting boundaries. It's about consistency. Women respect men who are dependable, who say what they mean and mean what they say. It's easy to make promises, to talk about the kind of man you want to be, but it's your actions that prove your worth. Are you disciplined? Do you follow through, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable? That's where real respect is born, not in words, but in actions. Here's another thing. Women respect confidence, but not arrogance. Confidence is knowing who you are and what you bring to the table without needing to announce it. It's walking into a room and owning your space, not because you demand attention, but because you don't seek it. Arrogance, on the other hand, is a facade, a mask worn by men who are insecure, who crave validation. Women see through that. They can tell when a man is trying too hard, and it's an instant turnoff. Real confidence comes from within. It's the quiet assurance of a man who's done the work, who's faced his fears, and who doesn't need external approval to feel whole. And here's the thing, confidence is magnetic. When you're secure in who you are, it gives her the freedom to be herself around you. She doesn't have to play games or put up walls because your energy tells her, I'm grounded, I'm steady, and I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to be me. Let's talk about decisiveness. Women respect men who know what they want and go after it without hesitation. This doesn't mean being reckless or impulsive. It means being clear on your goals and taking deliberate steps to achieve them. Indecision, on the other hand, is a killer. If you're constantly second-guessing yourself, waiting for someone else to make the call, or looking to her for direction, you're signaling weakness. And weakness, no matter how kind or well-intentioned, will never earn her respect. Here's an example. Imagine you're out on a date, and she asks, "What do you want to do next?" A man who's unsure will say, "I don't know. What do you want to do?" A man who's decisive will say, "I know a great place we can check out. It's perfect for this kind of evening." That small moment speaks volumes. It shows leadership, confidence, and an ability to take charge, qualities that every woman respects. But respect isn't just about strength or decisiveness. It's also about vulnerability, on your terms. Women respect men who are willing to open up, to share their thoughts and feelings, but only when it comes from a place of strength. Vulnerability doesn't mean oversharing or seeking pity. It means being real, being honest, and letting her see the man behind the armor without ever dropping the armor completely. And let's not forget accountability. Women respect men who take responsibility for their actions, who don't make excuses or shift blame. If you mess up, own it. If you fall short, acknowledge it and do better. Accountability isn't about admitting defeat, it's about showing integrity. It's about proving that you're a man who learns from his mistakes and grows because of them. So what does all this mean in practice? It means being the kind of man who stands firm in his values, who knows his worth, and who leads with purpose. It means treating her with kindness and respect, but never compromising your own self-respect in the process. It means being strong enough to hold your ground, yet secure enough to let her in when the time is right. Women don't respect perfection. They respect authenticity. They respect the man who's real, who's flawed, who's still figuring it out, but who refuses to settle for mediocrity. They respect the man who's not afraid to say, "This is who I am. Take it or leave it." And here's the best part. When you earn her respect, you don't have to demand her attention. It's freely given. When you embody strength, confidence, and authenticity, she won't just respect you, she'll admire you. And admiration, that's the foundation of a connection that lasts. Mastering emotional control, the high-value man's edge. Let's face it, emotions are tricky. They can drive you to greatness or lead you straight to ruin. And when it comes to relationships, emotional control isn't just an advantage, it's a necessity. Women are masters at reading emotions. They can sense insecurity, frustration, or doubt before you even realize it's there. That's why mastering your emotions is one of the most powerful tools you can have as a high-value man. Here's the hard truth. If you let your emotions control you, you're giving away your power. Every time you react impulsively, raise your voice, or let anger dictate your actions, you're showing her and the world that you're not in control. And a man who isn't in control of himself can't expect to lead, earn respect, or be seen as someone worth following. But emotional control isn't about suppressing how you feel. It's about managing your reactions, staying grounded, and choosing your responses with intention. It's about being the calm in the storm, the steady hand that guides the ship when the waves get rough. Think about it. How often do arguments escalate because of emotional outbursts? How many relationships fall apart because someone couldn't handle the heat of the moment? Women don't respect men who lose their composure, who lash out when things don't go their way. They respect the man who stays calm, who listens, and who responds with clarity instead of chaos. Here's an example. Imagine she's upset about something and starts venting her frustrations. Most men make one of two mistakes. They either try to fix the problem immediately, which makes her feel unheard, or they take her emotions personally, turning it into an argument. A high-value man does neither. He listens. He acknowledges her feelings without getting defensive. And when the time is right, he offers perspective, not to fix her, but to show her that he understands. This isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about showing her that you're unshakable. Emotional control is attractive because it signals strength. It tells her, I can handle this, I can handle you. And that kind of assurance is rare. But let's take it a step further. Emotional control isn't just about managing conflicts. It's about staying true to your purpose. Too many men let their emotions derail their goals. They get distracted by fleeting feelings or let a single setback knock them off course. A high-value man doesn't operate like that. He feels the emotions, processes them, and then refocuses on what matters. One of the best ways to master emotional control is through self-awareness. Pay attention to your triggers. What sets you off? What situations make you feel anxious, angry, or out of control? Once you identify those triggers, you can start working on how to handle them better. It's not about being emotionless, it's about being prepared. Stoic philosophy offers a powerful perspective on this. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, you can't control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. This mindset isn't just practical, it's liberating. It frees you from the need to control everything and allows you to focus on what truly matters, your actions. Here's another aspect of emotional control that often gets overlooked: patience. Women respect men who don't rush, who don't act out of desperation or fear of losing them. When you're patient, you're telling her, I'm not in a hurry to prove myself. I know my value, and I'll let things unfold naturally. Patience isn't passive, it's strategic. It's the ability to see the bigger picture and act accordingly. But let's not ignore the fact that emotional control takes work. It's not something you master overnight. It requires practice, reflection, and most importantly, discipline. There will be moments when you're tempted to react, to let frustration get the better of you. But every time you choose control over chaos, you're reinforcing your position as a high-value man. And here's the thing about emotional control. It's not just for her, it's for you. It's about living a life where you're in charge, where your emotions serve you instead of the other way around. When you master your emotions, you become the kind of man who can handle anything life throws your way. And that kind of man is unstoppable. So the next time you feel your emotions rising, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that you're in control. And when you respond, not react, you'll not only earn her respect, but you'll also solidify your place as a man who's truly in command of his life. Reaching the summit, becoming a man she can't ignore. Every man wants to be noticed. It's human nature. But the truth is, most men go about it the wrong way. They chase attention instead of earning it. They try to impress her with grand gestures, flashy displays, or constant validation seeking. And what happens? She looks past them, barely noticing their efforts. Why? Because attention fades, but respect lingers. Becoming a man she can't ignore isn't about doing more. It's about being more. It's about embodying qualities that demand respect, not through force or manipulation, but through presence, purpose, and authenticity. When you stop chasing her approval and start living with intention, she won't just notice you, she'll be drawn to you. Let's start with presence. A high-value man commands attention without saying a word. It's not about being the loudest in the room or trying to dominate every conversation. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and where you're going. When you walk into a room, do you carry yourself with purpose? Do you make eye contact, stand tall, and move with intention? These subtle cues speak volumes, telling her, this is a man who knows his worth. Purpose is another key ingredient. Women are naturally drawn to men who have direction, who are working towards something greater than themselves. It doesn't matter what your goal is, as long as it's meaningful to you. Maybe it's building a business, mastering a craft, or creating a legacy for your family. Whatever it is, let it fuel you. A man with purpose is irresistible because he's not easily distracted. He's focused, driven, and unshakable. But here's the catch. Purpose isn't just about ambition. It's about alignment. Are your actions consistent with your values? Do you live in a way that reflects what you stand for? Women respect men who are true to themselves, who don't compromise their principles for temporary gains. When your words and actions align, you create a foundation of trust, and trust is the bedrock of any meaningful connection. Let's talk about authenticity. In a world full of masks, being real is a rare quality. Too many men try to be what they think she wants, molding themselves to fit her expectations. But that's not what she's looking for. She doesn't want perfection. She wants honesty. She wants a man who's unapologetically himself, who's willing to show his flaws and own his strengths. Authenticity isn't about being perfect, it's about being consistent. When you're the same man in private as you are in public, she'll notice. And more importantly, she'll respect you. But here's the thing. None of this works if you're doing it for her. The moment you start living for someone else's approval, you lose your edge. Everything we've talked about, presence, purpose, authenticity, it all starts with you. When you live for yourself, when you prioritize your growth and happiness, you become magnetic. She'll feel the shift in your energy, the quiet confidence that says, I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to be me. Now let's address the elephant in the room. Some men think that becoming a man she can't ignore means being cold, distant, or emotionally unavailable. That's not what we're talking about. Strength and vulnerability aren't mutually exclusive. In fact, they complement each other. Women respect men who are strong enough to face their emotions, who can express themselves without losing control. When you're honest about how you feel, on your terms, you create a space where she feels safe to do the same. But let's not sugarcoat this. Becoming a high-value man takes work. It's not a switch you flip, it's a journey you commit to every single day. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and times when you question if it's all worth it. But here's the truth. Every step you take brings you closer to the summit. And when you get there, you'll realize that the journey wasn't about her. It was about you. So what's the takeaway? Stop chasing her attention. Stop trying to prove your worth. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of man who commands respect through your actions, your principles, and your unwavering sense of self. When you do that, she won't just notice you, she'll admire you. And admiration, that's the kind of connection that lasts. At the end of the day, you don't need to be the loudest, the flashiest, or the most impressive man in the room. You just need to be real, be purposeful, and be relentless in your pursuit of growth. That's how you become a man she can't ignore. That's how you reach the summit. So here you are, standing at the edge of transformation. You've climbed higher than most men ever will, but this journey isn't just about the view, it's about what you've become along the way. It's about shedding the layers of weakness, doubt, and fear, and stepping into the full power of who you are. This isn't just a story of survival, it's a story of triumph. You faced the tests, endured the pain, and emerged stronger, wiser, and more focused than ever before. But here's the thing. This isn't the end. It's only the beginning. The world will continue to challenge you. Women will still test your boundaries. Society will still push you to conform. But none of that matters. Because now you know the truth. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need their permission to be powerful. What you need is within you. It always has been. The strength to stand tall, even when the world tries to knock you down. The clarity to know what you want and the courage to go after it. The presence to command respect without ever demanding it. These are the qualities that define a high-value man. These are the qualities that make you unstoppable. But let's not forget the most important lesson of all. This journey isn't about her. It's about you. Yes, women will notice. Yes, they'll respect you. But that's just a side effect of living a life that's true to yourself. When you stop trying to impress others and start focusing on your growth, your purpose, and your vision, everything else falls into place. So what's next? You keep climbing, you keep growing, you keep refining the man you've become. And when the tests come, and they will, you face them head on, knowing that every challenge is an opportunity to rise even higher. And what about her? She wanted a monster, didn't she? Well, you've given her something better. A man who's unshakable, untouchable, and unstoppable. A man who doesn't need to prove himself to anyone because his actions speak louder than words. A man who lives with purpose, leads with integrity, and commands respect without ever asking for it. Here's the bottom line. The world doesn't need more men who play small, who shrink themselves to fit in, who apologize for their strength. It needs men like you. Men who are bold enough to break free from the mold, to stand firm in their values, and to lead by example. So, walk down that mountain with your head held high. Not because you're looking for applause, but because you know you've earned your place. And if they can't handle the man you've become, that's their problem, not yours. This is your life, your journey, your ascent. Own it. Live it. Be it.